going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and these are the videos that I love to make. A new Easter egg just got solved over in Black Ops 4 Zombies thanks to JackalBoy88. What a sick name, what an absolute legend. Definitely show him some love. I have all of his links down below in the description. He actually discovered a Eisendrache Raven Easter egg over on Voyage of Despair. Now, I know Voyage isn't everybody's favorite map, but I personally love the map's atmosphere. I love the storyline. I love all the Easter eggs. Voyage of Despair is like Treyarch's Shadows of Evil, at least for the launch of Black Ops 4. What I mean by that is, across all of the launch maps in Black Ops 4, classified included, Voyage has what I consider the most effort put into it in terms of the amount of Easter eggs, ciphers, all of these secrets and mysteries. Treyarch put a lot of work into creating a one-to-one Titanic for the launch of Black Ops 4. It just seems like that is the main map of the game, according to its launch. But JackalBoy discovered the same Raven from their Eisendrache, which everybody thought actually did something back in their Eisendrache, but unfortunately didn't. As you guys might remember, there was a Raven sitting in the mule kick room, and when you shot the Raven, he would kind of explode, the feathers would fly away. People thought there was more to that, but after extensive data mining on their Eisendrache, people discovered that the Raven just didn't lead anywhere. But JackalBoy somehow discovered a very similar looking Raven at the very top of the bridge over on Voyage. Right at the top of that pipe there, you could barely see the Raven, but with the sniper, it's a lot easier to see. He's just sitting up there, so what JackalBoy tried to do is shoot it with various different weapons, and he shot it with all types of primary weapons, secondaries, specialist weapons. Nothing seemed to work. He just couldn't kill that Raven until finally he decided to try the Kraken. He tried all of the elemental variants, and none were successful except for the concentrated decay variant, which is the one you get from killing a poison catalyst. That is the elemental upgrade for the Kraken, and that finally got him a red hit marker when he shot at the Raven. Now, at first, JackalBoy thought that he shot a zombie or something. He just couldn't tell what happened until he noticed that the Raven was gone. So he then searched the entire map looking for what exactly he did until he finally came across this book in the Zeus perk machine room, your first class. Now, he noticed a cipher in the book that he had never seen before and later confirmed that the book is still there next to the Zeus perk machine regardless, but once you shoot the Raven is when the cipher will appear inside of that book. It's a bunch of mumbled letters and stuff, and if you translate this cipher, it translates to, once you were a gangster, now you are a soldier, what do you truly stand for? This is a huge reference to Bruno and foreshadows how he was unfortunately killed and brought back to life by the Scepter of Ra thanks to the Order. He's now under control of the Order, which is obviously what we see in the ending cutscene of Voyage. We hear, Dark Bruno talking to him throughout 9, Ancient Evil. It's really cool that Voyage obviously is the beginning of the Chaos storyline, but foreshadows so much of what's to come, right? And when I say beginning of the Chaos storyline, I mean in terms of release order in game. We know Dead of the Night technically happened first, but it's great that Voyage really laid out the foundation for what was to come throughout the Chaos storyline. But obviously a cipher like this was meant to be solved before the main Easter egg, so that, it kind of gets our feet wet with what exactly is going on with a character like Bruno. And he's such a great character. I mean, everybody out there who really gave Black Ops 4 a chance knows that Treyarch put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into ensuring that Chaos was a fairly solid story. I mean, there were flaws with the storyline, but that's to be expected. It only had 4 maps to kind of, get its feet wet with the community, and it just wasn't enough time for everybody to get invested with these characters. But what's really cool about this is that Voyage has so many goddamn ciphers, and some of which are very hard to actually solve, some are hard to actually notice in the first place. You guys might remember the Voyage ciphers that I was very fortunate to come across thanks to an inside source who told me about them, and one of them was, of course, this very mysterious barcode, which was only seen like in one of the bedrooms, and it's a really weird stretched out barcode, and we couldn't really tell what it was, but finally we managed to get an actual HD version of it in the files, which we were then able to crack, and ended up, turning into this answer about something to do with the Titanic back then, some like real fact about history. It was pretty cool, but the coolest one, which was a lot easier to find, was the QR code that was found like near mid-deck. If you go prone under this window, you'll see that, there's kind of this weird looking detailed room, and it's dark, so you throw a Wraithfire in that room and you notice there's actually a QR code sitting in there, and that one translated to something about Dark Bruno. So a lot of ciphers on this map that do hint at what's going on with Bruno, and that's to be expected because Dark Bruno could be seen at the very end of the Voyage of Despair Easter egg. So I just love the detail that Treyarch put into this. It's definitely definitely appreciated. Now, I guess you could say a big flaw with the Chaos storyline is that a lot of story was covered in the actual comic books. I know the collector's edition of Black Ops 4 came with issue number 1 of the Chaos comics, but the rest of them were sold separately. I don't even think I bought some of the other Chaos ones. I do have all the Victus ones. Those are a ton of fun to read, but in terms of the Chaos ones, I never really got interested enough to go and buy the other ones. Maybe I will one day, but those comics go in detail with how Bruno was eventually killed, more information about, Alistair Rhodes, more about the Order, some backstory with Shaw. It goes into some cool story that is touched on a little bit within Voyage and 9, and, Dead of the Night does help a little bit too with kind of bridging that gap with what happened between the comics and then the actual game. The comics are cool and all, but again, not everybody was interested enough to go and invest in them. I think it probably would have been better if, people got more invested in Chaos over the course of like a game or two, then they do the comics to kind of explore some backstory. That probably would have made more sense, but it's almost like with Chaos, they did a lot of things backwards, and, that's on top of the fact that Dead of the Night was supposed to be a launch map along with Voyage, while 9 was supposed to be DLC 1. That also probably would have helped a little bit because, 9's great and all, but I think Dead of the Night is just such an unappreciated gem. I just love that map. So I think if it would have launched with Black Ops 4, more people would have been like, hey, this map is sick, Chaos might be worth investing into, let's see what happens, right? And then 9 is, of course, a pretty goddamn good map, and I think it's at least on par with the Eisendrache, at least a little bit, to the point where it would have been more respected as DLC 1. But again, huge shout out to Jackalboy for finding this. He actually emailed Glitching Queen with this information. She had the first video on it. Her link will also be down below in the description. Huge shout out to her for raising awareness on this and bringing this to the community. Overall, there are so many unsolved Easter eggs in Black Ops 4. I have a video on that down below in the description. I guess nobody's really extensively data mined Voyage too much to have known that a Raven was on this map and actually did something. I'm also surprised that the Cipher itself wasn't data mined, because usually, Ciphers can be pulled from the files and people could then, figure out, hey, this is somewhere on the map, let's look for it. But this time that just didn't happen, which to me is great. The more legitimate solves, the better. But, I have that video linked down below in the description to all of the current unsolved Easter eggs that we know of in Black Ops 4, which I hope aren't cut content, right? Stuff like the guitar riff in 9, that coin on blood. There are so many things that I hope do, give us answers eventually in the future. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.